Hello, Cherise, and welcome to the Glam Observer podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We fell in love with your story by the first time we met you, like how you're doing your design and your background from London, and also in your new experience from your time as an intern in Tom Ford. We would love if you could share a little bit of your story with our Glam Observer girls. So why don't we try to start from the beginning? Why don't you give a small introduction about yourself?
Sounds good to me. So my name is Cherise Trimingham. I'm 22 years old and I'm currently living in the UK. I've always known I wanted to be a fashion designer from primary school. So that was when I was about 8 years old or so. And I always used to draw, but I was never actually like amazing at drawing. And to be honest with you, I never actually used to follow like actual fashion trends, but I used to create my own. So, for example, at secondary school, when I was about 13, I always used to color coordinate all of my clothes. For example, I would
Oh,
wear
that's so
like,
cute.
I used to wear like red jeans with the red top and the red
Uh-huh.
shoes and the red hair accessories.
Okay,
So,
how did you end up like studying what you're studying now? Maybe you should tell a little bit about your study.
okay, so I originally started studying textiles at school, and then from that, like it was like the school tier system. So from there, I went to study at a university called Central St. Martin's, which is very prestigious in London, and
Uh-huh.
I was specializing in fashion and textiles there. And that kind of opened my mind up to decide what I wanted to specialize in. So from that, I moved to a university called London College of Fashion to specialize in sportswear, which was like one of the best decisions of my life.
That's amazing. So what are you doing with the sportswear the where you're studying right now?
So I don't actually create active wear, I create more contemporary lifestyle wear. So it's more of a sports luxe range that I specialize in at university. But what I love so much about my degree is that everything is designed for a purpose. So you have to always have a customer in mind and a reason to why you're designing it. And I feel when you design like that, it makes everything a lot better and more substantial.
For sure, for sure. But like how can you combine like did the studies help you to get inside the fashion industry or did you already know about the fashion industry in another way before?
So my studying definitely did help me with getting into the fashion industry because obviously when you're at university, you make a lot of contacts through your lecturers, through the other students. So it was kind of like a natural process, speaking to people and meeting different people, going to social events because there's a lot of like fashion fashion events in London as well. So it's just a matter of getting yourself out there as much as you can.
Yeah, brilliant. Is there anything else? Like, did you go to any events before studying, or was it like just studying and then after that you started to realize different like aspects of the fashion industry?
Yeah, I think because I started studying fashion at such a young age, I essentially started studying fashion and textile design when I was about 16 years old, so straight out of school. So I feel my educational pathway really did set me up for gaining all the knowledge that I did gain. So I would say for me, my studies did help me with that.
Cool. We actually would like to hear a little about how your first job was, like your very first job ever. What was that?
Okay. So my very first actual job was actually working at a very respected department store in Britain called John Lewis. And I was 15 years old, and I originally started there doing work experience through my school because in England, when you're at school, you have to do work experience for a week with a company, and I absolutely loved my work experience. It was selling customers fabrics and dressmakers patterns and giving them advice on projects they were working on. So I would always get to cut. I would love to cut my customers' fabrics and speak to them and hear what they're doing and inspire them, and they would always inspire me as well. So that was my very
Mm.
first job.
And how did that maybe affect you to create your own brand? Because right now you have your own brand called Trimingham, right?
Yes. So I really feel like that heavily influenced me because when you're in the environment with all the fabrics and notions and trims and zips, like it really does have a knock-on effect, especially while you're studying in the same period. And I also worked on the menswear department as well. So I would always get to speak with my customers and see what it is they were looking for. And I really feel like unconsciously it all had an effect on how where I am today.
So Trimingham is mainly just a menswear brand, right?
Yes, we do specialize in men's made to order product.
Okay. Could you
But we
tell us
also
about like the beginning steps of Trimingham, if you find any difficulties with the process or if there was any struggles that you had before that is different from what you have now?
For sure. So the way Trimingham originally came about was I used to make clothes for myself, and my friends and family would always compliment them, asking me to make them things. And from there, I started creating garments for my friends and family. And over time, I slowly started to expand and branch out. So I originally had a brand called Threads by Chez, and that brand is where I specialized in velour garments. I would make tracksuits and jumpers, and a lot of people in my local area really loved the velour collection,
Uh-huh.
and it was getting really good. And a friend at uni actually told me to like, he's like, you have a really good talent here. You should really try and look into scaling it up and making it more of a professional looking brand. So, and at the time, Threads by Shez was doing really, really well. However, a difficulty I did run into was the fact that I used to make all the clothes myself and I used to sew them all by hand. And for me, sewing isn't my favorite thing. So because I was getting so many orders in, it really had a negative knock-on effect because I really was overworking myself. So that's when I'm kind of glad that I scaled up at that specific time and rebranded because I decided that I don't want to be the one making my clothes. I would rather outsource to have tailors create the product. So
Okay.
so it kind of taught me a lesson. It was kind of a positive lesson in a sense that I don't need to make the clothes. I can outsource a tailor that does this as a profession rather than me make them.
So
So
what does that put you at your role as a designer then? Like what is your role?
So my role as a designer is literally doing everything but the tailoring essentially. So because I am the owner of the brand, it means I have to do a designer is not literally just sketching and drawing all day. You have to do everything. So I do the designs, the research, sample pattern cutting. I even make the samples before they go off to the tailor. I do fabric sourcing, marketing, distribution, like even down to website maintenance and contacting suppliers, the social media. You literally have to do absolutely everything.
So you're quite busy, aren't you?
Yeah, it is busy, but essentially it because I love what I do, it doesn't feel like work, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Sure. That's amazing. Right, like this last fashion month, you actually managed to have a fashion show during New York Fashion Week. How did you manage to get this going, and how did you manage to make your brand this successful?
So it was actually quite strange because I originally went to New York Fashion Week last year, literally just to observe and see what the fashion scene was like over there. And when I was at one of the shows, spoke to a gentleman and I was like, I'm from London, I've got a fashion brand. And he was like, oh, so you're going to be showcasing your collection next year, right? And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I would absolutely love to do that.
That's
However, like over the year, like I'm not gonna lie, I accidentally lost his contact details and I was like, oh no, what am I gonna do?
oh God.
And literally I was speaking to my sister a week before. This is how crazy it is. I was speaking to my sister a week before I was going to New York because I still had booked to go to New York just to go to Fashion Week anyway. And I knew I wanted to do a show. And my sister was like, Cherise, come on, find yourself something. Like you're going out there, find a show. So I kid you not, on the Thursday before I was going out on the Friday. On the Thursday, I contacted an organizer for New York Fashion Week, and I was like, I'm a luxury brand from Europe. I would absolutely love to showcase my collection. Please let me know if this is possible. I'm flying out tomorrow, so if it is possible, I'll bring my collection with me. A few hours later, they contacted me back saying, yes, you're in the show, bring your collection. And
No way.
so I arrived on the Friday. The next day I flew out on the Friday and the show was literally on the Saturday. So it all happened
Wow.
absolutely really quick. But I'm so glad I done it because it
I
was
can
one of
imagine.
the best experiences I've ever had.
So, like, even with this short notice, everything seemed so professional and so well done, and there was actually a lot of people showing up. So, how did you manage to organize this fashion show with such a hurry?
Because it was such short notice, thankfully, the organization that I was in contact with, they managed to organize everything for me, in terms of the venue, there was even a DJ, photographers. It was like a big collaboration, and that's what I really loved about New York Fashion Week is that um, everybody's working together, so and everybody's gaining from it because I wouldn't like it if it was literally just me gaining or trimming
Yeah,
gaining from it. So like the models want exposure, the photographers want exposure. So it's like
wow.
all of us working together. So it worked really, really well, and everybody was really happy with the event.
So, this is your first actual fashion show for the fashion weeks, or did you try to be a part of the fashion weeks before?
This was literally my first ever show because I essentially launched my first collection this year. So
Uh-huh.
it was literally, it was literally, I was literally blessed to be able to debut my first collection at New York Fashion. So yeah, it was my very first.
That is really cool. But like now where you have the fashion show, you managed to get through everything in New York. Has it like had a positive like a way for your brand to evolve? Is there like several people that can buy it from other countries too? How do you promote your brand from now on?
Yeah, so we are literally on Instagram and Facebook. The Instagram name is at Trimingham underscore. So that's Trimingham underscore. And we also have a website that anybody can purchase products from all over the world. We have actually had a few orders from America and Switzerland and different places in Europe already. And that website is called www.trimingham, so Trimingham.store, and we have the whole collection available for purchase on there, including ready to order pieces and made to order products. We have different both services. I also done a pop-up event. So I had a pop-up stall in London, which was a really good way of me to market my products as well because I met some really good people there. And that was a really good opportunity because obviously we are based online, but it was really good to have like a essentially a bricks and mortar store where people can actually come and see the products live. And we had some really good feedback from that as well.
Yeah. Beautiful. So like now with you had an internship at Tom Ford, you have your own business, but you're also still a student. How do you
Correct.
combine this? Like how can you manage to get this through? How does a typical day look for you?
So I would say not every single day is the same. Every single day is completely different. So one day I may be in uni for most of the day, and then I'll come home and be working on the brand all evening, or I could be editing content on another day. And yeah, I was interning at Tom Ford, and I must say that was an amazing experience. The team there absolutely lovely, and
What did
how I
you do at
managed.
Tom Ford? Sorry,
So
can I just ask that?
yeah, of course. So I was assisting the studio manager and the showroom manager. So again, no day was the same. I used to get to do lots of different roles, seeing the designers, that like sending packages for the designers from the London showroom to LA, and making sure that everything is running smoothly, essentially. So it was a very responsible role, but it was really, really good. And I managed to do it, and I'm really glad I done it. It was a great experience.
And how did you actually get the internship?
It's actually quite a strange story. So I was I was actually applying for internships in April because part of my degree, we do a gap year, and that in that gap year you can do an internship for the whole year, or you can do study abroad. And I actually done study abroad, which is why I lived in Milan for 6 months and studied at NABA University, which was also one of my best experiences of my life, honestly. And so from that, I was applying for the internships, but I wasn't actually getting any feedback after I had finished my study abroad, of course. So then I was in July, I was literally just at home, and I received an email, and it said, "Hi Cherise, are you still interested in interning at Tom Ford?" And I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking, is it like a spam email? Is it real? So of course I replied straight away. I was like, yes, I would absolutely love to. I can start whenever you want me to. So then literally I had the interview with the showroom manager the next day, and then 2 days later I started the internship. So it was a very, very quick turnover. And that's what I would say in fashion, you just have to be ready. Ready, you have to be ready all the time because opportunities can come like that and you need to accept them straight away, like the fashion show.
That's for sure. So like now you're no longer in Tom Ford, or are you still in contact with Tom Ford?
I'm still in contact with Tom Ford, but I'm no longer at Tom Ford because when I was at Tom Ford, I was on a break from school. So I was able to put my all into Tom Ford, but now I've returned back to university in my final year. So I'm really trying to focus on that as much as I can at the moment.
So just to get back to the studies and your own brand, how do you manage to still be a student and focus on the studies, and in the meanwhile having your own business on the sideline?
So with me, I tend to do everything in segments. So when I was interning at Tom Ford, like I said, I didn't have many responsibilities like university. So I was able to put my all into my internship, and then in the evenings I would work on Trimingham. And with university and my brand, I tend to work it very smartly as I manage to merge the two together. So doing a fashion degree means you can have the freedom to create almost anything that you want. So I always have Trimingham in my vision when I create anything for my university projects.
Mhm.
So that's how it really works. So they basically work very simultaneously. Everything
Okay.
I create for university, I always use with my brand in mind,
Yeah,
which is
that's so cool. Like for all of this busy life that you're running right now, do you have any special routines that keeps you going?
I don't have any specific routines in terms of my fashion systems because I like everything to be very spontaneous and not so systematic specifically, but I do a lot of personal development work because my mum is a life coach and she helps me keep on track with everything in terms of staying positive and setting goals. She is literally amazing. Like she's worked with a range of people to help them achieve their goals. And she actually has a website. So if anybody was interested in setting goals and having a life coach. Her website is twosaintscoaching.com. So, and that's two saints with TOUSSAINTS. And that is my main drive slash routine. Um, that really helps me keep on track and stay focused. And I feel like once you've got your mindset right, everything works out, honestly.
That's beautiful. So you kind of have a small family business going on, but just in two different fields.
Yeah, essentially, because she keeps me on track and motivates me and encourages me to keep going, and then I go off and do all the creative stuff. So
So
yeah.
basically, she's been helping you out in the moments where maybe you didn't have the drive to like get through with the stuff for the brand, or how does it work?
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly how it works. So, like with a life coach, they kind of help you realize that you can do anything that you set your mind to. You keep the positive mindset, you stay focused, and also like with her, she sets you goals. So like there's different goals that you can like different timelines that you can achieve these goals. And me personally, once I have a set timeline, I tend to work a lot harder.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that really works really well.
Nice. Is there any special advice that you would like to give to the girls who wants to work and create their own brands?
Yes, I would say go for it. So essentially jump and the net will appear. And when I say jump and the net will appear, I mean like just take your shot and worry about it afterwards because everything will always work out if you remain positive. Like, for example, I say that in a sense, like with the fashion show, I could have been very skeptical. I could have thought, oh, it's too late for me to try and do a fashion show 2 days before the show. But I just went for it and then thought about the rest after, thought about the collection and which pieces I was going to put on the runway and the models after. So when you just accept the challenge and go for it, it tends to work out. I would say don't overthink anything, like don't overthink everything because once you start overthinking things, it puts mental blocks in the way for you to be able to achieve the things you want to do. Also, there's no such thing as perfect because I know a lot of people always want to wait for the perfect time. And even me, when I first started Trimingham, so when I rebranded, I was like, oh no, I want this all to be completely perfect. I don't want to put up anything until it's perfect. But then I realized like there is no such thing as perfect. Just go for it and work with the resources that you have. And I would say don't fear competition because there's only one you. So you will always be unique, essentially, along with your designs. So don't, or because I know it is difficult in this industry to look at other people's work and think, oh, but mine's not as good, blah blah blah. But it's all when you keep that tunnel vision and and a tunnel mindset, everything will work out.
So basically, just keep dreaming and stop comparing yourself to others.
Yeah, for sure. I would say that is a really good, yeah, definitely.
So, is there anything that you love particularly about your position right now?
At the moment, I would say I love how many goals I have accomplished already and all the goals I still have so far to go because like for me, like I said, where I set goals, I've really seen them unraveling in this past year in particular, like in terms of like celebrity endorsements. I'm really glad with all the people that I've met, for example, endorsing Rick Ross and Playboy Carti, two big American rappers. And I've also had the pleasure of dressing a England football player called John Swift, who plays for Reading as well. So I feel like I've really enjoyed the people that I've met, and not only the celebrities, but all the models that I've met on the way, the photographers and stylists. Like I've really been blessed with all the people around me in my network at the moment. So I'm really in love with the journey that I'm on, and I'm very excited for the rest of it.
I can imagine your life sounds amazing right now. Is there any last tips for the listeners, like some personal advice, life hacks, or anything else that you want to share before we end this podcast?
I would say I literally can't stress how important it is to invest in yourself and your well-being, such as feeding yourself with positive thoughts and uplifting yourself daily. As I guarantee, once you have accomplished this, you can achieve absolutely anything you set your mind to. Because literally, the only thing that will stop you from doing what it is and achieving your goals is your mind, if you allow it to, putting mental blocks in the way. So I would say really think about working on yourself and investing in yourself, getting enough sleep if that is, because that is very important as well, eating good, exercising, and really just believing in yourself. And there's a lady on YouTube that I listen to as well. She's called Esther Hicks, and she is and slash Abraham Hicks. And they really do help you to see mental blocks that you put in the way, and they help you kind of unravel them and realize that you are able to achieve and get over any of these hurdles that you put in the way. So I would say, yeah, just really invest in yourself, and you've got this, girls. You can do it.
That is such a great way to end this podcast. Cherise, thank you so much for sharing your story. It was so great. And I hope a lot of students and also other fashion people who wants to enter will get a lot out of this.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been amazing.
Enjoy your day.
Thank you, you too. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.